Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So my name is Jide, as Mr. Barrow said, and I'm pleased to welcome you all to this webinar. I'd like to especially welcome our parents, our prospective parents and students who have taken time to join us today. I'm happy that they are considering Canada as a study destination, and I can assure you that after this session, you will have all your questions attended to. Questions about the OSSD university pathway, about admission requirements and procedures, about visa applications. We'll attend to all of that. So I'd like to especially welcome you and ask you to, feel relaxed and, taking all of you're going to hear today. I'd also like to welcome our partners who are ably represented by Mr. Raylon, Mr. Gregory, Mr. Robert, and everyone else. You'll get to hear from each and every one of them, and I'm sure they will give very detailed presentations also. Our program today, I'll just give you a quick rundown. We're going to have 5 presentations that would cover everything from, admission requirements, what we do at MCC, Maple Canadian College, and visa applications too. We'll also have, an interview session with one of our former students, and then we're going to have a Q&A session. You should all be looking forward to that. You're going to have the opportunity to ask all the questions you have that we probably didn't touch during the presentations. So, of course, we don't intend to take too much of your time. We hope to be done by 6:20 at the latest. So, once again, welcome to everyone. Just to start very quickly with the President's welcome address. Is the President of Maple Education to be giving us a very welcome address. Mr. Barrow.
I don't have any speech prepared today, simply because I just see this as a gathering of like minds. So I would like to welcome our partner institution, Rosedale Academy, without whom we will not be able to provide the Ontario secondary school program in Nigeria. Mr. Okokon is here. He's from the Canadian Embassy, or High Commission, as it's called, and he's in charge of education. He's a very, very strong partner of ours. Because our company is a Canadian company and our school promotes Canadian education, we do have a lot of support from Mr. Okokon. Also present is Rob Finlayson of Carleton University. I've known Rob for many years. My 3 daughters actually went to Carleton University. So Rob, welcome. And I'm sure you'll be happy to know that about 18 of our students, the last graduating class, 2020-2021, will be going to Carleton University. Present also, I hope I haven't missed anybody. We do have, I don't think John Gregory is here yet.
Okay.
I can't see him. John Gregory is from the University of Alberta. I hope he joins us pretty soon. I want to welcome all the parents that are here today, all our future students, and I hope that you're going to have a good time and enjoy this presentation. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you can. I don't want to say too much because there are so many presentations. So do sit back and enjoy this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow. So, most of my job for me anyway. I'm meant to introduce the speakers now, but you've done to a good extent, but I'll still go ahead. So, Mr. Raylon Nazareth, Mr. Raylon, Manager, Global Education Partnerships at our partner institution in Canada, the Canadian University Pathway Program. Over the camera. That's Mr. Raylon. Next, we have Mr. John Gregory. I'm not sure he's. Yes, so Mr. will be joining us in the course of the program. We're talking about how to gain admission into top universities in Canada. Olaoluwa Olugbenle. Olaoluwa is Maple Canadian College. He was our valedictorian. I mean, he's going to be studying in the, but he's going to provide a lot of insight into what it feels like to study in e.t.c. Also, we have Mr. Robert Finlayson, is the manager, international admission and recruitment at Carleton University. Also, we're talking about how to get into what you need to do to get into those universities. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Robertson, please wave at the camera. Get to meet you. Robertson. All right. Okay, sorry, Mr. Roberts, not Robertson, sorry. Then we also have Mrs. Titilayo. Mrs. Titilayo is our admin manager at Maple Canadian College, and she will be welcoming you to MCC formally. And finally, we have Mr. Okukun Odionge. Sorry if I've not pronounced your name properly. Thank you very much. So is the international travel, is the trade, the High Commission of Canada in Nigeria, national travel trend of Nigerians to Canada today. So thank you all. And without wasting any more time, to the next item, which is our first presentation on Nazareth. Mr. Raylan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jeed. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the warm welcome as well. My name is Raylan Nazareth. I work in global education partnerships at Rosedale Academy. We are the Canadian partner of Maple Canadian College. I just want to firstly say congratulations to the team at Maple Canadian College on getting through what has been a very challenging year. I'm not going to go through the challenges. I think it's pretty obvious, but you've really persevered. The students have had unbelievable, excellent outcomes in terms of university admissions, scholarships, and I hope we do talk about that today. And I think parents have been very happy. I've been personally contacted by some parents saying, thank you. And most importantly, all of the students have been able to graduate on time. They've been able to apply for their visas on time, and they have sufficient time to move forward with their lives. So it's ecstatic that no pandemic, no issues in the country, anything has been able to prevent these children from completing their objective, which is getting a Canadian education in Nigeria. So I'm going to provide a brief overview on what Rosedale is, why we exist, how we work with MCC, and what makes this partnership so special for your child. So do stay tuned. And of course, as Mrs. Zabaro said, this is a community-oriented presentation. So let's get some questions out there as well, because we'd love to hear from you, the parents and the students. So I believe everyone can see my screen very clearly. So a little bit about Rosedale Academy. Why is Rosedale Academy being mentioned here today? We are Maple Canadian College's partner institution of choice to deliver Canadian curriculum in Nigeria. We're based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. For those who don't know, Toronto is Canada's most populous province, and in the province of Ontario. And in Canada, because it's such a large country, unlike in Nigeria, where maybe there's a national system of education like the WIAC, in Canada it is provincial. So the provinces handle education, and we are guided by the Ontario Ministry of Education. They are the body that accredits us, reviews us, inspects us, and allows us to issue the diploma and develop this program with Maple Canadian College. And Ontario, for those of you who don't know, is Canada's most populous province. It's where the most amount of people in Canada live. So it's a very well-known education system. You can see this lovely map here. I've highlighted Nigeria in red and a bunch of other countries as well. This is where we are. This is what Rosedale Academy is about. We don't deliver programs. We don't deliver programs in Canada. We deliver programs outside of Canada. And we do that in partnership with excellent partner schools around the world, such as Maple Canadian College. We have about 50 partners worldwide and more than 24,000 course enrollments. And we're continuously growing as well. And we specialize in two things: offering Canadian secondary programs, foundation programs, and also the implementation of e-learning education technology in the classroom. This has been a phenomenal aspect of our program this past year during the pandemic, when students were forced to go online. Everything was there for students to continue learning. It made the job of the teachers much easier. They didn't have to prepare material. And we've been doing this since 2014. So this is not a new thing for us. We're specialists in that. And the pandemic has allowed us to really see the power of that platform. But of course, we believe that class should be happening in class. And we're glad to see that MCC students were able to take and finish their program in class and have a wonderful graduation ceremony as well. So why MCC? Why are we working with MCC? Why is MCC working with us in terms of partnership? And it's very simple. It's to bring quality Canadian secondary education to Nigeria. MCC, as was mentioned before, is a Canadian-owned Canadian educational product in Nigeria. It's a school that is owned by Canadians and run by Canadians. That's very important for us at Rosedale Academy, because that means the ownership understands the quality of Canadian education and the investment required to provide a high quality program in Nigeria. And I can tell you, not a penny was spared in this facility. And when I say facility, I don't mean this beautiful building. I mean the people, the curriculum, and the facility, of course, in terms of what we've established here. And the students have had a phenomenal experience because of that. All of the teachers at MCC have received training from Rosedale in how to deliver our curriculum. And they receive regular professional development on how to use all of our e-learning education technology. MCC has invested tremendously in putting together modern classroom facilities. Some of these classroom facilities are better than schools I've been to in Canada, and they're quite nice. You need to see them if you haven't yet. They've also gone above and beyond to provide safe and comfortable, easily accessible residence and boarding. So if your child does not live in the Lekki area, you have that option for you. And more importantly, MCC is owned by Maple Education Canada. They have years of experience in university and career counseling, excellent success with the visa application process. And that just makes this partnership very easy for us at Rosedale Academy. It's a combination of two great brands working together and to put this program together for you. And we're in our third year of operation now. So you're getting a very tried and tested and true program. So what about the curriculum? What about the Canadian curriculum? What makes it so special? You have a lot of options as Nigerians when it comes to that post IGCSE or that post SS2 or SS3 or post WIAC option. Students can choose from foundation programs. They can choose from Cambridge A-levels. They can also choose the Canadian OSSD program, the Ontario Secondary School Diploma program. It is one of the world's top secondary education systems worldwide, as ranked by the Program for International Student Assessment from the OECD. And what that is a triennial study. It happens every 3 years that looks at the quality of education worldwide by testing students on their math and literacy skills. Ontario students rank usually in the top 5 to top 10 in different skill areas. And we're very proud of that. And most importantly, it's internationally recognized. Our curriculum is internationally recognized. You can literally, as our family at MCC would like to say, start here and go anywhere. But what makes it different? What makes it special? Initially, a lot of parents will look at this as it's a Canadian qualification because my child is going to Canada. But there's a lot more to it. It's a different style of learning, and it's supposed to bridge you from your curriculum in Nigeria to your curriculum in Canada. So let's have a look at that. You see here I've identified the West African curriculum as well as the Cambridge A-level curriculum. There's nothing wrong with these curriculums. They are great, excellent curriculums. Actually, that's a reason why they're so well known and students have done so well in them. But however, these curriculums are very much based on a major final exam. And that final examination will take place at the end of the year towards graduation. And unfortunately, at no fault of the student, no fault of the school, no fault of the teachers, that creates a lot of pressure on the child. And that leads to what we call test memorization, test-based preparation, where the focus is on right or wrong answers and following an answer key. That's not active learning for us. So with the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, we are entering a much more flexible process with a variety of assessments to meet the needs of current students. The focus of the program is on developing your higher order thinking skills. Higher order thinking skills is not about the information and facts and figures. We can get that today in the palm of our hands. It's about what you do with that information. What do you make of it? And that's what our focus is on. So your child will be immersed in a very different style of learning. And that transition is beautiful because that different style of learning is what takes place at the university level. So our goal at Rosedale is to develop your higher order thinking skills, specifically those critical and creative thinking skills, how to analyze problems, how to evaluate them, how to create solutions. Develop the academic skills, of course, which is fundamental in any curriculum you choose. Those literacy skills, mathematical skills, scientific skills. We will definitely do that much like a Cambridge program will or any other program. You will see a lot more development in your presentation and research skills, of course, through this program. And the learning skills. These are probably, I would say, even more important, and this is just my opinion on the other two, when it comes to success in university. Because your child is not going to be with you when they go abroad to another country. So things like responsibility, being organized, taking initiative, wanting to do things, working independently and collaboratively, and managing your time are really fundamental skills that your child should have to succeed in any university program. And we'll develop that with you. If we look at the e-learning education technology, this is a really important piece to cover that we've provided since 2014 to all of our partner schools. This has been able to keep students engaged in the learning when they're at home, and it's made it fun and exciting. If you take a tour of MCC, you will see this beautiful science lab for chemistry and biology. It really is state of the art. But during the pandemic or during a closure, you don't have access to that lab. We have fully functioning virtual labs where you can conduct those experiments online. And if you're in class doing a science experiment at the physical lab, you can reinforce that learning through the virtual lab, of course, as well, when you're at home. We have a lot of collaborative activities because our program is supposed to get students engaging and working with each other. There's a lot of videos and case studies as well. I never want to see a situation like I had when I was in school where I'm looking at something wondering, when am I ever going to use this in real life? So we bring a very practical aspect to the learning, of course, for your child. And we do have a lot of pre-recorded simulations and presentations so that if your child doesn't understand something from the teacher, or if they're in an online environment and there's a bad internet connection, or they need more reinforcement, they can always go to these resources and watch them for learning. And of course, we put in a lot of games and discussion forums to keep students active and engaged in things that they like at their age group. So all of these tools are part of that total solution that comes from MCC to your child. Let's have a look at the courses at Maple Canadian College. Maple Canadian College will be offering grade 10, 11, and 12 curriculum. So you can come in at many different age levels. The younger you come in, the better off you will be because it provides a very strong foundation for academic success at that critical year of grade 12. Each of our courses are 110 hours of curriculum, and we follow a progressive evaluation model. You'll see here we've listed 70% assessments, 30% final examination. What that means is that it's the complete opposite of a WIAC or Cambridge curriculum where 70% of your grade is based on the final examination. We de-emphasize the final examination and emphasize the assessments because it's progressive evaluation. Your child is continuously learning and they have a chance to continuously improve. And I'll go into a bit more detail about what that means. We will also assess your prior high school transcripts. So if you're coming from SS2, SS3, WIAC, or O-levels, IGCSEs, you will receive recognition for the courses that you've completed. And that means you don't have to complete all of these courses to graduate with a diploma. You'll only take the courses you need to graduate and receive that OSSD in order to apply for university. So you'll see we have a wide variety of courses available for students at different age groups, and they're very unique and quite engaging courses. And the team at MCC can go into much more detail if you're interested in what the content is of these courses. So the summary statement for the whole concept behind our style of learning is really, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do, and I understand. We want students to be actively learning in this program, and that's what we're able to accomplish through our curriculum. But let's talk a bit about the nuts and bolts, the legal stuff per se, in terms of what your child will be getting at MCC. First and foremost, it's very important to understand students attend Maple Canadian College as Ontario students. When you register your child at Maple Canadian College, they are registered at Rosedale Academy as well in Canada, which means they will be receiving an Ontario education number, an Ontario student record from the Ontario Ministry of Education. When they graduate, they'll also have an Ontario report card and an official Ontario student transcript. The Ontario student transcript is the legal document that is sent to universities to confirm your offer of admission to their institution. And of course, there's the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, which we're very happy to be able to issue to students. I just want to clarify, the OSSD, the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, is not coming from MCC, and it's not coming from Rosedale either. It's coming from the Ontario Ministry of Education. It's a government qualification as far as education is concerned. So this is a copy of what the Ontario student transcript would look like, as mentioned before. And this is a sample of what the OSSD, the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, would look like. So this is our Canadian alternative to you completing the A-levels. So let's look at the progression path for students. As mentioned, we will take students from SS2, SS3, WIAC, I believe even SS1. We'll also take students from O-levels, IGCSEs, and we've even had students come in from the AS and A-level graduates. We've also had a lot of WIAC students come in because they graduate at a very young age and they need a preparation year. They've come in for the OSSD program. And unfortunately, due to this pandemic, many students from Nigeria that like to go to Canadian high schools weren't able to do that. So we've had a lot of students that have transferred from their Canadian high school into schools like MCC back home in Nigeria so that they can complete their OSSD. So we're very happy to be able to offer that option to parents and students. So at MCC, when you come into the program, you'll be asked to choose your study stream. They'll be looking at which area you want to pursue for university. And then the team at MCC will identify between 6 to 8 courses, depending on where you're coming from, how many courses you've completed in your previous curriculum, to complete in 10 months. That's if you come for the grade 12 program. If you come for the grade 11 or 10 program, it'll be a longer period of time. You're able to receive pre-admission to MCC's partner institutions, which is fantastic. It gives you a bit more security as well. But the beauty of it is that you're also able to apply for any university around the world with the OSSD. You'll also be required to complete the Ontario Literacy Test and about 10 hours of community leadership service per year that you are enrolled at MCC. So this is another component that will happen as well for you in order to graduate and receive the OSSD. So let's look at that university application model. How does it work? So for top universities like Carleton or University of Alberta, they will look at the OSSD in terms of your top 6 university preparation courses. And as mentioned, our courses followed that differentiated evaluation process, the progressive evaluation model, where the exam is de-emphasized and the coursework is emphasized. So that means there's about 15 assessments in each course that are graded. These assessments can range from research reports to case studies, presentations, essays, or unit tests. And that's about 70% of your final mark. You will, of course, have to take a final exam and a project, and that's worth about 30% of your final mark. And that helps us form the grade that you receive in each and every course. This right here is an example of a student that may be applying to a business program or computer science program, where they're required to take English, advanced functions, calculus and vectors, and 3 electives of their choice. In some cases, they're pre-selected for you in your best interests, such as data management, business leadership, and international business. And you'll see here the student has a GPA of 89.5 in their top 6 courses. Of course, we mentioned the global admission advantage of the program at MCC, and it's not just an advantage I'm talking about, it's actually happening. If you look at the data and statistics of graduates from MCC, you'll see that they're not just going to Canada, they are going all over the world as far as admission is concerned. The beauty of the program, if you're applying to Canadian universities, is that you have a chance to receive additional scholarships, really. So there's a financial benefit. So when you apply with a Canadian credential, such as the OSSD, and you're a Nigerian citizen, You'll qualify for both international scholarships as well as domestic entrance scholarships. And the domestic entrance scholarships, depending on the university, can range from as little as $1,000 to as much as $10,000 Canadian. And that's on top of any international scholarship that you'd qualify for. So that is a fundamentally amazing benefit to have. With the UK and Australia, you don't have to do the A-levels. For example, you don't have to do a 2-year program. You also don't have to do an expensive foundation program at the university. We take that aspect away. You can go direct entry into your program of choice. For the United States, many universities do not require the SAT or ACT for OSSD students. Of course, if you're shooting for a very high scholarship or you're applying to a very competitive university, we encourage you to take the SAT, as some of our graduates have done, and it's worked out quite well for them. In Singapore and Malaysia, which is also becoming a very popular destination for Nigerian students, you don't require an IELTS or TOEFL upon completion of our ENG 4U course. And this is just some examples. If you want to take a look for yourself as a parent, these are pulled right from their websites, whether it's University of Toronto, Michigan, or Oxford, where the admission requirements are stated for OSSD graduates. So you can feel confident, literally confident, that you can apply to any university around the world with this qualification. But it's not really about that as well. It's about the success of the program. And that's what makes this such a unique partnership. And MCC is going to go into a lot more detail of where their students have gone to. But Rosedale graduates as a whole around the world, including MCC students, have gone on to top universities. Our students have been, 96% of our students have been accepted into top 200 universities around the world. And the average number of university offers is about 4.6. You will see all of these universities listed here in terms of their logos and their images. What I'm trying to communicate to you here is that these are institutions that have given an offer of admission to our students, one of our students or many of our students. What that means is that an admissions officer has seen a transcript from Rosedale Academy and they made an admission decision on that. So you can feel fairly confident that when you apply to this program and take it and apply to university, there is some familiarity with our institution at Rosedale Academy. And that's also a very important question that you should be asking as a parent when you're looking into a program in Nigeria is, who is your partner institution in Canada and what's their success record and track record? Because that's where the diploma comes from at the end. So why do students choose Rosedale programs at MCC? In summary, of course, to gain greater access to top institutions from Canada, US, UK, and beyond. You're applying with the OSSD, you're taking courses that you're good at, that you're interested in, and you're using those to apply to universities. You're getting a very unique, top-notch curriculum. It is very different from the WIAC and the Cambridge, so you will benefit from that. It's not just a Canadian piece of paper, it's much more than that. And you're getting a modern, immersive learning experience. The whole goal at MCC is for you to feel like you're in Canada. And they've done that in every possible way as you can for a school in Nigeria. So we're very happy to be here today, and I hope that provided a very good overview for you all. And I'm sure my colleagues will have a lot more information throughout the seminar, which I'm very excited to be going through with you. Thank you all for your time, and that is my presentation today on the Rosedale experience at MCC. Thank you. Oh, Jade, I think you're mute.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Raylan. That was detailed. And can you hear me? All?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'll ask Mr. John to pick up, to be louder. All right. So very quickly, we'll move on to the next item. I'm sure you have questions from Mr. Raylan's presentation, but you'll have a chance to ask all of towards the end of the program. So we'll move on to the second presentation now, and I would like to invite Mr. John. Mr. John is the Director, International Programs at University of Alberta. Mr.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone, from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's just gone 9:30 here, so it's quite early in the morning. Another beautiful day here. We'll be up to about 30 degrees later. My name's John Gregory, and I'm the Director of International Recruitment at the University of Alberta. I thank Maple Education for inviting me to speak today. I've been to Nigeria many times, I think over 30 times, and helped many Nigerian students come and study abroad in a number of institutions. The institution I currently work in is the University of Alberta. It's one of the top universities in Canada, and it has a special place in my heart. Many years ago, I was a student back in the UK. As you can probably tell from my accent, I don't sound particularly Canadian. So I was a student in the UK and had the opportunity to do an exchange year at the University of Alberta. And while studying here, I met my wife. So it's had a big impact on my life ever since coming to Canada and studying in the University of Alberta. And wherever you go for your future education, hopefully Canada, I hope it has a similar impact on your life. So moving on, to give you a bit of background on the University of Alberta, we are one of the top universities in Canada. We're ranked in the top 5 universities, and we're actually also in the top 100 in the world. So very high quality, well ranked, good prestigious reputation. One of the things we're very proud of is our graduate employment rate. So we're number 2 in terms of graduate employment in Canada. Many international students come to Canada due to the great work permit options upon graduation. So going to the University of Alberta will allow you to be very attractive when applying for positions in the future. A number of our programs are in the top 10 in the world. And we have over 40,000 students who study with us, including hundreds of students from Nigeria. So I know Raylon gave an excellent overview of the quality of the OSSD qualification, and I thought I'd also give you a university perspective on this qualification. So from OSSD, we do require 5 subjects in grade 12. We work very closely with the team at Maple Canadian College to make sure the subjects you take will allow you to gain admission to a high quality Canadian institution. Good news is IELTS and a personal statement would not be required, so your admission would be based entirely on your OSSD. Virtually all Canadian universities offer online applications, and again, my colleagues at MCC would be able to help you with. And studying the Canadian curricula really helps you for success when you come to university in Canada to study. And although we'd obviously love for you to come to Canada, it's a great country with many opportunities. The qualification is accepted across the world. So I'll talk a bit about the University of Alberta now. So here is our North Campus, or our main campus. We're one of the large universities in Canada. So all the big buildings you see in this picture are part of the university. We have multiple hospitals on campus. We have the shopping mall. We have residents. We have great sports facilities. I'm going to try to show a video. We'll see how the bandwidth goes on this. Okay, didn't work, so we'll move on to that. We're located in a city called Edmonton. Edmonton itself is relatively big for Canada, a population of just over 1 million, so quite small if you're joining us from Lagos, but it's a relatively big city for Canada. This is a picture of the downtown area, and in the bottom is part of the university campus. So you can easily get across the river on public transit, or if you're feeling athletic, walk across and access all the downtown facilities. Use of public transport is included in your student fees, and there's lots of part-time jobs available for those of you looking to work part-time during your studies. We have a lot of sun here, so very sunny days. We've been having some heat up to 35 recently, which is unusual. Typically, it's around 25 to 30 this time of year. So Edmonton is located in the oil and gas center of Canada. So we do offer the highest average salaries in Alberta for all of Canada. And that's part of the reason why we have the largest shopping mall in North America. So you think of all the big cities in North America, LA, Toronto, New York, Houston, Mexico City. Edmonton actually has the largest shopping mall, partly due to the large disposable income there. In the picture is the water park, which is the largest indoor water park in the world, and I'll hopefully be going there later with my kids who are 6 and 4 and love going there. There's lots of restaurants and cafes, and Edmonton and Canada is a very multicultural city and country. In fact, nearly a quarter of the population, 22% of people in Canada, were born outside of Canada, including myself. So most of you would study on our North Campus. This is some of our more older buildings here in the far front, and in the background are our very modern facilities, very high-tech labs. We do offer guaranteed on-campus accommodation. So you'll be able to live on campus with both other international students and Canadian students. And we rank in the top 100 in the world for research impact. One of the things we've been celebrating recently is one of our faculty members, Dr. Michael Houghton, winning the 2020 Nobel Prize in Medicine. So this kind of illustrates the quality of faculty at Canadian universities. He won the prize for the discovery of a hepatitis C virus, and he's currently working on a COVID-19 vaccine. As I mentioned, career success is very important. One of the big things about Canadian universities is a lot of them offer the opportunities to undertake co-op. So co-op is where you do paid work experience during your studies. So you graduate from a Canadian university with a good degree, and also that co-op work experience, which sets you up for future job interviews. And upon graduation from a Canadian institution, you're able to apply for the post-graduation work permit. This is an illustration of our tuition here. At the University of Alberta, we're proud to be able to offer you a guaranteed tuition model, which means the tuition you pay in year 1 will be the same as your tuition in year 4. So your parents don't have to worry about any unexpected tuition increases. Your tuition is guaranteed for all 4 years of your study. Now, I know scholarships are always popular with both Canadian and international students. So a lot of our scholarships are awarded automatically upon admission to the program. So we offer Gold Standard, the International Student Scholarship, and virtually every student from Nigeria obtains a 5,000 International Country Scholarship. We also have a number of application-based scholarships, and again, my colleagues at MCC will be able to help you apply for them. Now, I'd really like to speak about the quality of the students we've seen from Maple Canadian College. So we've had a number of students apply to the University of Alberta, and we're looking forward to welcoming them in this September. So all the students from Maple Canadian College who applied for admission were offered scholarships to the University of Alberta. And the amount ranged from 7,000 to 14,000 Canadian dollars. So the high quality of students is shown by us making substantial scholarship awards to them. So amount ranges from 7 to 14,000. So going to Maple Canadian College would really set you up to get admission to a good Canadian university, and also very competitive for scholarship programs. So I'm not going to talk about all our programs today, but there's lots of programs on offer. And with the OSSD, we would work with you to make sure you take the right courses for the program you want. Most Canadian universities open their admission in October. And again, my colleagues at Maple will help you with the application process. So I had 10 minutes and I've used the full 10 minutes. So I just wanted to sum up. We're very proud of our association with Maple Canadian College. We've had a lot of good applicants from the college, and we're looking forward to welcoming them in September. And all of the applicant offer holders have been awarded scholarships from the University of Alberta. So thanks very much for your time today, and hope to see you in Canada soon.
Thank you, Mr. John. And thank you for mentioning the quality of students. That's really good to know. All right, so we'll move on very quickly to, I mean, this should have been an interview, but it's going to be a presentation instead. So I'd like to invite Olaoluwa Olugbonle. I'm very sorry, Mr. Rob, it's not your turn yet. Hello, Mr. Rob. Mr. Finlayson, we're meant to have Olaolu now. Thank you.
My apologies. Once I'll just unshare.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So Olaolu was a Valedictorian from the last set. He's sharing some insights with us about his time at MCC. Enjoy. Olaolu.
Hi, everyone. Can everybody see my screen? And can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Olaoluwa Olugbonle, and today I'll be presenting to you my time at Maple Canadian College. So I was part of the 2020-2021 MCC set, and we call ourselves the Inexorables, which is really synonymous to unstoppable. I was also the MCC Rosedale Academy Full Scholarship Award holder, which was an award given to a young Nigerian who showed promise and wanted to pursue education outside the country. I was also the president of the Students' Council, and my role there was basically making sure that the voices of the students was heard by the school management, and every decision the management made was passed down to the students. So we were sort of like the medium between the school and the students, the school management and the students. And lastly, I was also the class valedictorian. And I believe that this is really a testament to MCC's ability to focus on softer skills, because academically, the competition here was really tight. Like, a lot of people deserve this title. But then because of the softer skills I displayed around the school, I was able to win certain awards for this on my graduation day, like for character, behavior, and even during our prom. I won some awards for like having a very good support system amongst my peers. So it just shows how MCC was able to identify those softer skills, and they eventually became a valedictorian. So today I'll be presenting three things to you. First is my experience at MCC. Next is the skills I've acquired. And lastly, tips I have for success for students who will be coming here by August. So my experience. I've divided this into three sections, and first is the workload. The work here is rigorous. Now, this doesn't mean that it's difficult or it's this doesn't really mean that you can't do it. It just means that it's tasking, meaning that that's a good thing, because the older you get, the more responsibilities you have. And coming here was really an eye-opener to see that what you're going to get in university is going to be a lot different from what you're currently doing now. And one of the main things that I realized about the work here was that the work is time-bound. So you have a certain amount of time, just enough time to do just that activity you need to do, like your assignments or study for a test. Because if you start doing the right thing at the wrong time, it could be detrimental to your success. In addition, the work was also practical. And I remember that there was a time in my first semester, so the academic year is divided into 2 semesters. In my first semester, I got to actually experiment. So we were taking a math course, and we had to perform an experiment in order to complete a particular assignment. So that just shows how practical the curriculum is itself. Now, for your social life, we got to go to the beach once. We even also got to go to the orphanage as part of our community service. From this, I learned how to play hard and how to approach people, which is actually quite difficult, if you ask me. And it's a really big life skill that everybody would need. So that was really important. And lastly, for health and wellness, we had multiple health talks by the school nurse, especially because of COVID. She had to keep reminding us of the different procedures to follow. Then because I was a boarder, I also decided to exercise in the hostel, and every other day in the evening after school, I would go out for a run in the hostel compound. And this picture you see here is one of the events we had in school. It was like we're painting one of the walls in school, and these are some of my other friends who are also in the hostel. So some of the skills I have acquired. I mentioned I was president of the Students' Council. That taught me a lot of leadership skills. And then the work itself taught me a lot of time management skills. I also became a lot more disciplined, especially when it came to sleep, because you should sleep, but then you shouldn't oversleep. So that was really a really important skill which I learned here. And then empathy. I like to touch on empathy because I mentioned again that I was president of the council, and in the meetings, let's say a challenge came up in the school. Between ourselves, we would try to look for a possible solution, and different people in the council will come up with different and very brilliant solutions. But then the challenge was now putting yourself in that person's shoes and seeing how that solution would actually play out. So that's one of the skills I learned, being able to put myself in somebody else's shoes and being able to come up with the best solution to make whatever challenge we were having go away. And I believe that now built a lot of teamwork between ourselves, because we all in the council, all of us, we relied on our strengths in order to make that solution which we all agreed on come into play. Then lastly, communication. We had to make sure that whatever solution we had, we relayed it to the school management. And this was kind of difficult because, I mean, everybody's older than us, and it's kind of like a new, it was a learning opportunity for us, because we had to start conversing with people a lot older than us, telling them our ideas, because, I mean, it's a school community, so people were always willing to listen. So that made it a lot easier. We also had to converse with people our age. So that skill of communication came in quite handy. And the last thing I have for you today are 7 tips for success if you're going to be a student here. The first thing I would say is for you to make God your first and your last each day. And you can do that by having your own personal fellowship, or just having a community fellowship in the hostel or wherever you are. The second is for you to attempt self-checks. And this is a really important tip, because the self-check is basically just this, it's like a small test. It's not graded though, it's a small test. And it just assesses how well you understand a particular concept that you just learned. The third tip I have for you is to constantly check your deadlines as well as your emails, because your deadlines can be shifted closer to you. And then important information really goes through your email. For example, university admissions and scholarships. The fourth tip I have is for you to set personal deadlines. Make sure that you try to set a deadline of 48 hours before, so that you're never caught unaware. The fifth tip I have is for you to aim for 100% in everything you do. In our second semester, a few friends and I started trying this, and we started seeing that our grades did not go below 96. And some of us even finished with 100 in certain courses, such as calculus and vectors and advanced functions. The sixth tip I have for you is to get enough sleep, but don't oversleep, because you still have to manage your time. Getting enough sleep will ensure that you are making yourself as energized as possible to face the work you have each day. And the last tip I have is for you to make sure you socialize and build networks, because when you leave here, it's those networks that you have today that will help you in the future. So with that, I'd like to come to an end. Thank you.
Thank you, Olaolu. Thank you for keeping it short and sweet. Of course, you'll still be around. We'll probably have questions for you during the Q&A session. All right, so thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. Okay, so we'll move on very quickly to the next presentation now. Mr. Robert Finlayson, now you have the floor. Mr. Robert is from Carleton University, and we'll be talking to us about how to get into that very highly ranked university. Mr. Robert?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. I hope you guys can see my slides.
Yes.
And I guess
Yes,
I
we
wanted
can.
to, okay, thank you for confirming. So I wanted to thank by saying I think Ola Alua had some really wonderful advice. Just listening to that really made me reflect on just the power of listening to students who have gone through what you're about to go through and sort of learning from that. So some good advice there, and it really speaks to how Maple prepares their students. My name is Rob Finlayson. I'm speaking to you all today from Ottawa, Canada. It's a wonderful opportunity. You know, I wish we could be sitting down in person. I've been able to travel to Nigeria many times myself, but obviously with COVID-19, travel isn't happening. So hopefully this is maybe the first meeting and an in-person meeting to come when things are a bit more open. I wanted to start by thanking Maple for this wonderful opportunity as well. It's a great opportunity to be able to speak with you a little bit about Carleton University. A good place to begin, I guess, is just an introduction of myself. I also studied outside of Canada as part of my academic history. And as you contemplate studying away from home for the first time, looking at Canada as an option, I applaud you for embarking on this journey. I think studying away from home, whether you choose Canada or another country, is just a tremendously rewarding experience. You're going to learn so much about yourself and about the world by doing this. So I applaud you for embarking on this sort of pathway. I guess I'd start really quickly by talking about some of the advantages to Canada. Certainly, as you look at universities around the world, Canada should be among the countries you're considering, primarily for a few key reasons. And I think one thing to remember when you're looking at the Canadian context is the Canadian system is primarily a publicly funded system. So if you were to compare Canada's universities to America, for example, in the Canadian context, you'll find about 100 universities across the country, the bulk of which are public institutions. And so the quality variable is a very consistent piece in the Canadian context. All of Canada's universities have to meet very high standards of accountability for accreditation. And so from that perspective, choosing a Canadian university, the quality piece is less of a factor to consider. Things like rankings are not as germane. You're more looking for a school that will be the right fit for you as a student. So while Canada's universities are very high quality, of course, each of them is quite unique and distinct in terms of program offerings, strengths, research, the culture of the campus, the locations. Those types of unique attributes would set us apart. Compared to, as I mentioned before, about 4,000 universities in the US with varying degrees of quality. So worth noting about that. Canada, of course, you know, not a geography lesson today, but I think when you look at this map, the first thing you see is Canada is truly one of the biggest countries in the world by landmass. From the West Coast, beautiful British Columbia, flying from BC right across to Newfoundland on the Atlantic coast, you're looking at a flight time that's comparable to flying from Dubai to London, UK. So, I mean, Canada truly is a vast, beautiful country. But comparatively speaking, if you look at Canada and compare it to Nigeria, there's only about 37 million Canadians across the country. So population-wise, it's quite a tiny country, but it's worth considering that our population is among the most diverse in the world. Canadians truly come from all over the world. They're proud of their unique cultures and they're proud of being Canadian at the same time. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. And so I mention this to you because I think as you contemplate leaving home for the first time, in Canada, you're going to find a very welcoming and friendly environment. I think I hear overwhelmingly from our international students, you know, unless you say you're an international student, people assume you're Canadian. It's very multicultural, it's very friendly, it's very easy to connect with other students and hit your stride quickly and feel very much at home in Canada. Canadian cities typically rank among the most livable in the world. And of course, Canada is a really innovative country. Things that you use in your everyday life actually sometimes have their origins in Canada. The original smartphone, of course, the BlackBerry, the sport of basketball, the life-saving drug insulin, you know, all of these things. Canada has a rich history and tradition of innovation, and studying at a Canadian university will often give you an opportunity to learn and try and do and sort of get involved in that innovative culture I think that Canada is really known for as well. One final point about studying in Canada. Of course, Canada is welcoming in terms of it being a friendly place, but it's more practically welcoming to you in that you have, of course, the latitude to work and study simultaneously as you progress through an undergraduate degree. So part-time employment is certainly a very common thing for a Canadian university student to do. And that's certainly something that you have the basis to take advantage of as well. And then, of course, post-graduation, being able to extend your stay in Canada for 3 years for professional purposes for the post-graduation work permit as well. So I think for any of you contemplating making a major investment in your future, 4 years of your life, learning in a new country, being able to stay when you graduate is a wonderful thing to know that you have access to as well. I work at Carleton University, and just while we're on this slide, Carleton, of course, is based in Canada's national capital city, which is Ottawa. Here you can see where Ottawa is situated in the Canadian context. It's within the province of Ontario. We're very close to the major cities of Toronto and Montreal. As a Montrealer myself, it's just over an hour and a half from Ottawa by car. Toronto is about 4.5 hours away. And then just south of us in the United States, you'll find major cities like New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., or Boston are all fairly accessible to Ottawa by car or plane. So in terms of studying with us at Carleton University, I think one of our biggest advantages is, of course, being based in a G8 capital like Ottawa. Having access to some of the resources found in the city is a tremendous opportunity for our students for research and work purposes. Of course, in the city, you're going to find Parliament. It's the seat of government. So being able to study politics up front and center is very exciting. But beyond that, you'll find, of course, the diplomatic community. So international relations, global politics is really strong. Of course, government research institutes, think tanks, and nonprofit organizations. It's worth also mentioning Ottawa's second phase would be IT. Beyond governance, of course, you'll find one of the largest IT hubs in North America. There's a huge concentration of software-related businesses in the city, many international companies, but of course, homegrown ones like Shopify as well, headquartered in the city. Like Edmonton, Ottawa is a city of just over 1 million people. So in the Canadian context, North American context, it's a mid-sized city, kind of like the Goldilocks size, if you will, in terms of it being big enough to have all of the infrastructure you find in really large cities, but things like cost of living, safety, environmental considerations, it's a very livable place. After Carleton University, of course, there are other post-secondary institutions, University of Ottawa, St. Paul's University, the University of Quebec in Gatineau, several colleges. I mention that to you because in the city, you'll find a huge concentration of students that come to live and study in the city, which makes for a really young, dynamic aspect to living and studying in Ottawa as well. So tremendous opportunities in a really livable, beautiful city as well. I mentioned at the beginning of my talk that choosing a Canadian university comes down to finding, really the right fit for you in terms of your study aspirations, your professional goals. So what makes Carleton unique from its peers? Here's our campus. The first thing I think you'll notice when you look at Carleton is it's a very green park-like campus based in the central part of the city. So I think you really benefit from that duality. It's a campus-based university, which means our students really actively get involved in the campus community. Many live on campus, they join clubs and societies, they actively meet up with their friends when their classes are finished, meaning you can come to Carleton on a Wednesday night or a Sunday morning, and it isn't a deserted office park. It's still a vibrant campus community, people using the gym, meeting up with their friends. But you don't get that at the expense of the location. We're not in the suburbs where it's going to take you an hour on the bus to get out. We're downtown, so using the Ottawa public transportation system, which is included in your student fees, gives you access to the city within minutes. It's a very well-located institution as well. You'll note we're bordered by some waterways. Of course, one of them is the Rideau Canal, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you're thinking about Canadian weather and you're a bit apprehensive about what winter is like, sure, of course, Canada has colder winters. As John mentioned, we have warmer weather in the summer, 30, 35 degrees Celsius, can be quite hot. Autumn is when the leaves start to change colors. You get those really crisp, beautiful colors. It's a little cooler, but still very sunny. Winter in Ottawa typically arrives in December and will last through till March. But of course, our city is designed for cold weather. Indoors, you wouldn't be cold. The Rideau Canal turns into the world's largest skating rink. We have Nordic ski trails groomed throughout the city and about 30 minutes from some great downhill skiing as well. If you do live on campus, you can use our underground tunnels. You don't even have to go outside on those colder days. So lots of exciting, fun things to take advantage of, both on campus and within the city as well. In terms of our profile as a university, we're a mid-sized university within the Canadian context. So we have about 31,000 students that study bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs. Approximately 15% of our students are from outside of Canada. We're really proud of the fact that our international student community is not based in only 1 or 2 countries around the world. Over 150 different nationalities on campus, students from the United States and Mexico, across Latin America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, and Canada too, for that matter. And so I think as a student coming to us from a city like Lagos, you're going to potentially run into some friends from back home, but also you'll be part of this international community of scholars, and you're going to be able to learn and debate and benefit from different perspectives and experiences. And then when you graduate, whether you stay in Canada or you go home or to another country, you're connected to this international connection of alumni that we have globally as well. A Canadian credential, a Carleton credential, is certainly a portable one. So staying in Canada or going on to grad school in another country, all of that remains very much open to you to take advantage of as well. Many students live on campus, of course. I won't speak a lot about this, just in terms of the campus experience. You saw what Carleton looks like. In many ways, our campus functions like a city within the city. So guaranteed housing for students coming out of high school, amazing food that we serve on campus, sourced from local farms and prepared fresh on demand, vegan, halal, kosher, all of that is available to you in a very supportive and caring environment. So it's a really great way to arrive and hit your stride very quickly. I think one of the first considerations would be, what program would you like to study? Carleton's recognized as being a comprehensive university, meaning we offer a broad array of subjects. We offer 22 different undergraduate degrees, over 5 faculties, and many of these degrees have different majors available that can be combined together in interesting ways. Not enough time to talk about the 22 degrees, but really well known for engineering and design programs. Of course, architecture, one of the biggest engineering faculties in Canada, social science programs like journalism, public affairs, international relations, law, human rights and economics, a full faculty of business with both commerce and international business, and science programs like health sciences, mathematics, computer science, information technology. Like I say, most programs can be combined together in interesting ways based on pursuing your academic goals and your intellectual curiosities as well. Carleton offers an extensive co-op program. Approximately 80% of our degrees offer you the opportunity to add professional work to your program. It isn't mandatory, but I think people that take advantage of co-op benefit because they're building a professional presence in tandem with studying. As you move through your degree, you'll work for at least 3 different major organizations that are directly related to your study program. As such, you're applying theoretical concepts in professional contexts. You're creating a network of people that you can use for work purposes when you graduate. And you're learning more about the type of work you might want to pursue when you finish your degree. So really, it's a win-win, and you get paid as well, which for parents that are listening, I mean, that's a great way for you to help cover your costs as well. Many co-op positions are based in the city of Ottawa, but we place students in major cities where there is industry related to your degree program. So that could mean moving to another city for 1 term of your study for that particular experience. But you get to choose the programs that you apply for as well. So it's really a student-led option. In terms of how to apply, I'm aware that you have amazing support at Maple. We work really closely with Maple in terms of helping applicants after they apply. Some key points to consider, though: it's a straightforward process. When you're applying to Ontario-based universities like Carleton, you have access to the Ontario University Application Center, which is, if you will, a common app of sorts for that particular province. UAC makes sense when you're applying to multiple Ontario-based universities because you have 3 choices with a single application. And by virtue of being an Ontario university, your grade distribution would come to us directly through the Ontario provincial system. So it's a bit streamlined. If you want to apply to different provinces like Alberta and Ontario, for example, you can apply directly to Carleton through our website, which is a little bit more straightforward. Regardless of how you apply, the key assessment tool for us is going to be your academics. So, we really recognize the rigors of the Maple program. We look to your academic performance primarily. So a combination of UNM courses for admission. Prerequisites, of course, are important to remember. If any of you are thinking about an engineering degree, of course, math, physics, and chemistry would be important. If you're looking at politics, social science credits would be more important. Unlike the US, we're not going to ask for standardized tests. We recognize the rigors of your program unto itself. You're welcome to send the SAT or the ACT if you have them, but it's not mandatory. And of course, because Nigeria is an English medium country for education, we don't require a proficiency test like IELTS or TOEFL. We do offer a few programs like studio-focused design programs in architecture and industrial design. If you are thinking about any of those programs, then of course, you'll also need to submit a portfolio. Music would be an audition. This would give us an opportunity to assess your creativity in tandem with your academics, both of which are really, really important to the assessments. An important consideration is cost, of course. Carleton's tuition fees in Canadian and US dollars are listed for you here, alongside how much it would cost to live on campus with a meal plan. So approximately that would be 1 year in terms of budgeting. But I'm very pleased to share that we offer a fairly accessible scholarship program. There are two types of scholarships at Carleton, both direct admission awards that you don't have to worry about applying for, and competitive scholarships that are assessed based on a combination of extracurricular activities, good grades, volunteerism, etc. So the entrance scholarship is based on your admissions GPA. Like I say, you don't have to worry about applying for that. They range from $4,000 to $16,000. It's an automatic scholarship and it's regainable. You have to retain a GPA to continue to receive it each year, but if your grades drop, you can have it reinstated once your grades go back up. If you have that background that does include that sort of volunteer leadership sort of portfolio, then I do encourage applications for the Prestige Awards. And I know Maple will be able to help you with that process. That application is typically due by March. Carleton also gives away money based on financial needs. So when you're thinking about coming to the university, after you've become a Carleton student, you could receive a bursary to help you with your costs. So consider, as I mentioned, being able to work and study as a student, part-time employment, potentially working full-time in the summer, paid co-op positions, entrance awards, bursaries, and prestige scholarships. All of that can make a difference for you in terms of covering your costs. This is just the scholarship range for the entrance awards. And of course, I will be able to share more information about that. It's a high-level presentation today. I definitely want to make sure we have time for questions, but I wanted to leave you with the knowledge that you can get more information about us after today if we are a school that you're looking at. I do encourage you to do your research. I think it's a great choice, but visit our website, carleton.ca, where you can do virtual tours. You can see what our campus looks like, and sign up for Carleton 360, where you can, of course, get more customized information that's specific to any degree program that you might be thinking about pursuing. So I think I'll leave it at that for now. I know we'll have time for questions afterwards, but thank you very much for taking some time out of your day to listen.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Roberts. Again, that was very detailed. And of course, we still have questions. So let me just say at this point that to help us make the Q&A session very easy and effective, you can begin to prepare your questions now. What you should do is type your question in the chat session, in the chat box. You can write your name, your question, and then indicate who the question is meant for. So, for example, if you would like to ask Mr. Robert a question, so you should indicate in the chat that Mr. Robert, that the question is for Mr. Robert. So your name, your question, and who you would like to answer that question. And then we'd like for you to try and compile, or if you have multiple questions, try and put them together in one chat so that we can address all of them at once. We only have 20 minutes for the Q&A session, and we won't be able to take too many questions. So to make it very effective, compile all your questions into one chat, include your name and who the question is directed to. All right, thank you very much. So I'd like to invite Mrs. Titilayo Ninalowo now. She's our admin manager at MCC. She'll be giving you a welcome presentation to MCC, and then she'll also be taking you on a video tour of our facilities. All right, so sit back and enjoy. Thank you very much. Ms. Titilayo.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello.
My name is Titilayo Ninalowo, and I am the admin manager at Maple Canadian College. I'm going to start off with a video of our tour facility. I've actually got two videos, so I'll start with that first. Okay, so that was our first video. I'm going to play the second video.
With a 100% success rate of admission offer to our students and majority obtaining scholarships to various prestigious universities in Canada, Maple Canadian College has been consistent in providing world-class education to students by offering the grade 10 to 12 programs. We take pride in our exceptional services, and the Ontario Secondary School curriculum ranked amongst the top 5 international academic high school programs in the world, provided by our partner, Rosedale Academy, Ontario. Best part, we represent over 60 institutions in Canada, giving our students a wide range of options to choose from. To ensure our students' success, we have provided a beautiful, conducive learning environment and boarding facility of international standards. We also have in-house certified Canadian immigration consultants for our students' visa processing services. Students learn both in and outside the classroom with hands-on experienced, well-trained teaching and non-teaching staff. A blended learning system that prepares your child for study anywhere in the world is what we offer right here in Lagos, Nigeria. MCC is taking the lead in university pathway programs in Nigeria, and we are devoted in maintaining our reputable high standard of learning. Maple Canadian College. Start here, go anywhere.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed our short video. So Maple Canadian College is a grade 10, 11, and 12 university preparatory college designed to bridge the gap between the Canadian high school diploma, the Canadian high school curriculum, and the West African high school syllabus. So our students here graduate with the OSSD in partnership with Rosedale Academy. And with the OSSD, you can study anywhere in the world, including the UK, without having to sit for or take the A-levels. Our mission at MCC is to become a model for innovative teaching and academic achievement across the world. Our mission is to provide world-class Canadian education to highly motivated students and set them on the best path to achieve their academic and professional goals. Our values is academic achievement, professionalism, and integrity. Our motto is merit, creativity, and consistency. The MCC advantage. So why should you come to MCC, Maple Canadian College? Well, the first thing is guaranteed admission into Canadian universities for successful students. We have a visa processing service through our parent company, Maple Education Canada. State-of-the-art facilities, as you saw in our video tour. Access to fully funded university scholarship, provision for boarding students, premium location, competitive fees, and dedicated and outstanding teachers. So we are glad to announce that this year, 2021, all our students received admissions to all their prospective university. And we had a huge number of students who applied for scholarship and gained the scholarship. So our very own Olaoluwa, he applied to University of Waterloo, Toronto, Concordia University, Clarkson University, and University of Wisconsin Stout. And he was admitted to all three, and he's currently just awaiting his results, which are definitely going to be excellent. And he received overall a scholarship from Clarkson University worth over $200,000 for the 4 years. And at University of Wisconsin-Stout, he's received over $60,000 worth of scholarship, which is fantastic. We also have another student, Oluwa Buyikumi. She's called Bui for short, and she applied to York University, Canada, Waterloo, and Rochester Institute of Technology. And she has received her admission to Rochester Institute of Technology. Still awaiting University of York and University of Waterloo, but again, that's just due to waiting her final grades. And she received an overall scholarship of $94,000 with Rochester Institute of Technology. Overall, all our students received a whopping over $600,000 worth of scholarship this year. That is truly, truly fantastic. Took a lot of hard work. And so a typical day at MCC, we start at 8:20, period 1, and by 3:40, classes end. On Friday, it's a little bit different. So we have from 8:20 and we finish by 1:45. So on Fridays, we have fellowship, clubs, activities, sports. And on Mondays, we have assembly, 7:45 to 8:15. Admission into MCC. So ages 14 to 18. So remember, we have grades 10, 11, and 12. You complete our application form. You submit your school transcript, so WAEC, IGCSE. We also have a maths entrance test. We offer a variety of courses, nutrition and health, IT and statistics, the world of business, so international business, financial accounting, business leadership, mathematics, advanced functions, calculus, and vectors. So we offer a variety of courses. Students will always have options to choose from. So we have 2 semesters. We have semester 1, semester 2. Semester 1 starts in September, ends by January. Semester 2 starts in February, ends by June. And students study 3 courses per semester. We also have the optional course as well. So our program is 10 months, the 10 months program. And this is a course subject choice. So the subject combination you would select when you come to MCC. So for example, if you want to study health sciences, psychology, biology, semester A, first semester, you would take English, physics, chemistry, MCR3U, that's just grade 11 functions. Optional 4UM is basically a grade 12 subject or course. And as you can see in semester 2, you take calculus and vectors, biology, advanced functions, and again, an optional elective course. If you would like to study engineering or architecture, you take English, physics, chemistry, grade 11 functions in semester 1, and February to June, semester 2, you would take calculus, vectors, analyzing current economic issues. That's basically economics, advanced functions, and optional 4MU, an elective as well, grade 12 elective. If you are interested in mathematics or the business discipline, in semester 1, you would take English, world history, international business, grade 11 functions. In semester 2, you would take calculus and vectors, advanced functions, analyzing current economic issues, and of course a elective as well. So if you'd like further information, please, you can call us, you can send an email, you can reach out to us on Instagram. We're very active on Instagram. You can check out our website. And on that note, I would like to say thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Titilayo. Again, like you said, if you have any questions, you can always reach us on any of those channels. You can leave that page of your presentation on the screen, Mrs. Titilayo.
Okay, I'll do that now.
Okay, maybe just for a few minutes. All right, so at this point, we have come to the last presentation. I'd like to invite Mr. Okokon Odionge, the Trade Commissioner at the High Commission of Canada to Nigeria. Thank you all for your patience. We are approaching the Q&A session. So as we listen to Mr. Okokon, we can begin to put your questions together. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Okokon. You have the floor.
Right, I was just struggling to unmute myself there, Jide. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay, I hope you can hear me. Good.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
All right. Really happy to be here amongst friends. I probably should start by sharing this photograph. It's not the best one, but this shows, when Maple Education was launched in, I think it was 2018, and that's Ryan Ward in the background there, who is the Deputy High Commissioner in Lagos, and Mrs. Obaro and Raylon there. So I just wanted to say that we're really excited about how Maple has come. They're such a champion for Canadian education in Nigeria, and we're absolutely excited every time to show support. And that's why I'm here today, essentially. I'll just talk very briefly. I know people have heard so many presentations, so I'll keep my own short and sweet about some of the trends that we're seeing in collaboration between Nigeria and Canada. Quick introduction about what I do. I work in the Trade Commissioners. I work as a Trade Commissioner, the Trade Commissioner Service at the High Commission of Canada, which is the embassy. Essentially, our mandate, forget the fancy words, is just to support Canadian businesses who are working internationally. There are trade commissioners in 140 cities across the world, including Abuja and Lagos. The bulk of our team is in Lagos, 4 officers, while I am in Abuja, the only one in Abuja. A huge part of what we do is promoting education. The education sector is very interesting for Canada, and I'll talk about that a bit more. Then ICT, clean tech, creative industries. Canada is trying to work a bit more with Nigeria in Nollywood and Nigerian music, etc. Nigerian arts as well. Personally, I joined the High Commission in November of 2015, so coming up on 6 years. And I lead on the education sector, but I also cover mining, government relations, etc. In a different life, I used to work for the French, the Swiss, and also for the Australians. So this is why I just talk very quickly about what we're seeing, the trends we're seeing between Nigeria and Canada. Some of the trends we're seeing: huge increases in Nigerian-Canadian relations, especially from people-to-people ties. PR visas, permanent resident visas, have more than doubled, increased by 150% between 2016 and 2018. Almost everybody I know who knows somebody who recently moved to Canada or who is planning to move to Canada. Over 10,000 of those PR visas were issued in that period. Canadian citizens who are originally from Nigeria doubled in the same period, over 100% increase. A lot of Nigerians settle in Ontario. The bulk of Nigerian students go to Ontario. Something like 50 or 60% of them go to Ontario. I saw somewhere that there are over 200,000 Nigerians just in the Toronto area, some of whom, when they're, were born in Nigeria, but some of whom were born by Nigerian parents in Toronto. After Ontario, Manitoba, and Alberta, where John is, we expect to see a lot more trade and investment between both countries over this period, especially because of all these numbers, this increase in numbers between the people-to-people ties. Increasing education cooperation, and we're really excited about this. In 2022, I think there were 900 Nigerians studying in Canada. Now there are over 12,000, and that figure was from a couple of years ago. By now, they've probably gone to over 13,000. Nigeria is in the top 10 source countries of international students in Canada. I think it's number 8 now. Recently moved up to number 8 among destination countries for Nigerian students. So Nigerians who are looking to go and study abroad, Canada is in the top 5. We're also seeing more and more OSSD-based partnerships. Happy to say that Maple and Rosedale are champions of that. They're one of the pioneers. But 3 years ago or 4 years ago, when I started at the High Commission, it probably was 0. Now they're probably up to 12. So we're really excited about that. And a few years ago, Loyalist College, which is a post-secondary college in Ontario, signed a pathway program with a Bagada school called Grace High School. Another reason that we see, that's another demonstration of some of the partnerships we see. The Memorial University of Newfoundland is very aggressive in signing partnerships in Nigeria. They recently signed one with NASENI, a government of Nigeria agency. Memorial is also working. I think they signed a partnership with Uniben, must have been 3 years ago. So we're really excited about seeing these partnerships because that's another way of developing bilateral relations between both countries. This is just to demonstrate, the point I've already made about Nigerians studying in Canada. This is for tertiary students, so post-secondary students. In 2019, Canada was in the top 4, behind the UK, US, Malaysia, and just ahead of Ghana. But in terms of the top 5, I think Canada comes number 5 after Ghana. So essentially meaning that lots of Nigerians go to Ghana, more Nigerians go to Ghana for secondary school than they would go to Canada. But in both cases, Canada is in the top 5 of popular destinations for Nigerian students. Just to close, since I work for the High Commission, I should probably provide some practical advice, even though I shouldn't, because you guys have Maple Education to speak to. But obviously, everybody here would know that to go and study in Canada for a program of above 6 months, you need a study permit. Some of the things that they will look at will be the proof of acceptance.
Yeah, you don't pay attention, and then and you're using your hand.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, you can go on, sir.
Okay, sorry. Proof of acceptance, a valid passport, proof of financial support. Please talk to your counselors if you have any questions on this, because it's incredibly important. I've seen some of lovely testimonials from students in Maple Canadian College. The last thing we want is, for any refusals to sort of muddy this fantastic work that you've done, especially in this challenging year. At this point, IRCC is only accepting online applications. Please note that travel restrictions still remain. There are certain exemptions. The best source of information is the cic.gc.ca website. That's really important. Some students who have been fully vaccinated may be eligible for quarantine exemption. Not all, but especially if you've been fully vaccinated here in Nigeria. I think one thing is important, and I know that Carleton and also the University of Alberta have a COVID readiness plan. So please manage your travel expectations, consult the website extensively, just so that nobody gets shocked at the airport. We've actually been called by families to say, hey, my child is at the airport and they've turned him back. So please manage your travel expectations around this uniqueness of the times. I will encourage everybody to go to educanada.ca because there may be some additional scholarships, fantastic amounts that I saw, the hundreds of thousands of scholarships that have come to NCC students, but there may be some additional scholarships that you may be eligible to since you're a Nigerian student. So visit the educanada.ca website. Just some contact information. If you want to send an email to the embassy, abujaji@international.gc.ca. We have Facebook, we have Twitter. Once in a while, we put out, information on scholarships or events or on social media. So if you follow us, it will not be a bad idea. And I come to the end of my presentation by really thanking Maple. Really excited to see everyone, and I'll look forward to any questions that I may be able to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okokon. Thank you again for keeping it short and sweet. And now people are looking forward to going to Canada now with your presentation. So finally, we've come to the end of the presentations, but I'm sure this is what you all been looking forward to. We can now take your questions and we can provide answers to all of those questions. So like I said earlier, please type your questions in the chat box, and please let us know what the question is directed towards. We already have one question and we'll be addressing it. So everyone else can just type your questions in the chat box and let us know who you would like to address those questions. And you can compile multiple questions too, so that we can save time and address all questions as effectively as possible. All right, so the first question here goes to MCC. Mr. Barrow, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, ma. So this Olumide wants to know if there are any Canadian schools that are sport focused or that have sport related scholarships.
I think this question is for the universities.
Okay.
Carleton, Alberta.
Okay, so Mr. Robert or Mr. John, any one of you can take this one. Mr. John or Mr. Roberts, any one of you. Mr. Roberts, okay, go on.
Sure, I can just answer. I think broadly speaking, there are some restrictions in the Canadian context on the types of scholarships that are able to be offered for athletics. That doesn't mean funding for varsity athletes can't be obtained. Generally speaking, in the Canadian context, you would try out for the team or sport you want to compete on. And then, at least in the Carleton context, but I believe this to be comparable at other schools, the coach has access to funding that they can disperse across teams. American universities operate in a different way in terms of the type of funding packages they provide. John might have something to add, I'm not sure.
All right, thank you. Mr. John, anything to add?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. John, it's probably not with us anymore. All right, Nicole wants to know, are there any Canadian schools for fashion designing?
Yes, there are lots of colleges in Canada that offer fashion design. Yes.
Okay. Jaye has two questions. One for the Canadian, one for Mr. Kokon. Okay, does this mean that even if a student has an admission currently, you may not be able to travel to the school for now? Mr. Kokon.
Sorry, could you just repeat that? That if the student has admission
currently, would they be able to travel to Canada as it is now?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Nigerian students are learning in Canada every day. What I meant and what I would like to stress is that please ensure that you're essentially you've covered all the dots. If the school has a readiness plan, if you have all the documentation that will be required before you're allowed to board, I think you must have already signed up all your courses or paid tuition. There are quite a number of requirements, including a clear plan on where you would quarantine if you need to, if you haven't received the vaccinations. But yes, Nigerians are landing every day. Nigerian students.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sean wants to know if Maple is an A-level school.
Yes. The Ontario, our grade 12 program is a pre-university pathway program and is equivalent to A-level. It's just for 10 months. And the certificate enables our students to get into universities anywhere in the world. Yes, it's an A-level program.
All right, thank you very much. So as you can see on screen, we have our contact details. So in case we're not able to answer all your questions, you can always reach us through any of these channels. We have our phone number on screen, contact email address, Instagram handle, and our website. So in case we're not able to take all your questions, you can always reach us even after this program. All right, so Onyeka wants to know, it's for the university, is there any Canadian schools that has cybersecurity degree? Cybersecurity. Mr. John or Mr. Robert, do you do cybersecurity?
Yes, Carleton University does have a cybersecurity program.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Now, Kenny Ayola wants to know what happens to a 16-year-old traveling alone to Canada for fall session and hasn't been vaccinated. Mr. Kokon, what happens to a 16-year-old traveling alone to Canada for fall session and hasn't been vaccinated?
I have to be incredibly careful how I answer these questions.
Okay.
Simply because I don't work in the visa section or a consular section. But my suspicion is that, yes, he would be able to travel. He would have to provide provide a plan on how he will quarantine for 2 weeks since he has not been vaccinated. I know that IRCC, Canadian Immigration, is still considering at least one parent to accompany a student. So if in this case that the child appears to be a minor, I think she said 16,
yes,
the parent should be able to accompany, one parent, not two, should be able to accompany the child. I really encourage this person, if this is a real case, just to send a quick email to abujaji@international.gc.ca, just to clarify. I would assume that he has registered and he has paid the school fees, and the school has a COVID readiness plan, and he can provide a quarantine plan. And then maybe Mrs. Abara will have something to say, because I think that's where my knowledge on this stops.
Okay, Mr. Abara, is there anything to add?
Well, from what I know, minor children can be accompanied by their parents, especially if the parent has a child in Canada who is a permanent resident already. Due to the travel restriction, visitors are not allowed in Canada at the moment, except if you are visiting a family member who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. Now, if your parent is accompanying you and there's no other family member in Canada, but because you are underage, your parent can go with you.
All right, thank you, Ron. Olumide wants to know if it is possible to enroll late and start in January of 2022. Late enrollment for January 2022. Is that still possible?
Late enrollment to where?
So any university in Canada?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there is. There are a couple of questions that I want to address. Admission requirements. What kind of students are we looking for at MCC? Apart from grade 10 and 11, we're also looking at students who have finished their WAEC, who have their WAEC certificate, students who have finished year 11, the British curriculum, they have their IGCSE, students who are presently in SS3 or SS2. These students can get into grade 12 this September. So we need your we need SS1, SS2, and SS3 transcripts. Even though you haven't taken the WAEC exam, we can give you admission to start in September or October. I hear that the WAEC exam has been shifted to September. So we have two start dates, September and October. September for those who have their IGCSE results, who have their WAEC results. They will start first week of September. Other students who are yet to write WAEC exam in September can join us in October, and both groups of students will finish at the same time. I saw a couple of questions that has to do with admission.
Yes. So I believe that you've addressed Sean, Nicole, and Jaye's questions. They're very similar about admissions. And if you need any further clarifications, you can please let us know. All right. So Mrs. Emanuela Michela wants to know, my daughter is currently in SS1 and will be going to SS2 in September. Can she enroll?
Yes, she can. She can enroll into grade 11.
Okay.
So she'll be spending 2 years at MCC.
All right. So do we have any more questions or clarifications or contributions? Okay, question for Ms. Obaro.
Yeah, somebody said if you're in university, can you enroll? Can you join? Yes, we had a student who joined us. He got into University of Alberta and he started studying online. So after about 2 months, he realized that he was not coping. He was studying engineering. So he left and joined us here. So he did only 1 semester, but he took core academic subjects for engineering. He did calculus, he did vectors, advanced functions, physics, chemistry. So that prepared him for university. So come September, he will now join University of Alberta.
All right, thank you, Ma. Mrs. Lolo Marie wants to know how long it takes to process visas, basically. She wants to know when visas will be issued, as soon as everything is, every information is provided satisfactorily.
All right. When our students start in September, they finish the first semester at the end of January. First week of February, we have their first semester results. So even before the results are released, we would have applied for university admission long before they even take their first semester exam. So the moment the results come out, we send them to the universities, and by end of February, we start getting admissions. Though most of these admissions are conditional based on their final results, we can start the visa processing because Canadian visa can take as long as 3 months. Unfortunately, you cannot say for sure how long it will take. We've had cases where it took 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, even 1 year. But on very, very few occasions do you see applications taking more than 6 months. And because we have 4 Canadian immigration consultants in our company, we are able to provide very good advice to our students and submit very good applications. All our students of last year, all of them, though we had a few denials, but we reapplied and they all got their study permit. So we had a 100% success rate for 2019-2020. And for this year, we've applied. In fact, within a month, we started getting response. Some were asked to bring their passport. So we are going to see a lot of success this year as well. Unfortunately, we cannot guarantee visas, but I can assure you that our visa success rate is extremely high.
Well, I've also heard of visas processed in 2 weeks. I just thought to mention that.
Yes, that's true.
All right, thank you very much for that. So Mrs. Jaye wants to know, when do the students start the admission process for universities, since the final results don't come out early? So after they've enrolled, when do they start admission processes?
We intend to start in October.
Okay.
Start in October.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Mr. Obodo wants to know, can a child going to SS1 join the program?
Yes.
Yes.
Now that child will be in grade 10.
Okay.
We already have some grade 12 students right now. So it's possible. Grade 10.
Okay. More questions? We still have some time. But if you prefer, of course, if you prefer to send an email, that's also fine. And we can also reach out to you if you submit your emails in the chat box. Thank you. Nicole Timothy wants to know, how can I enroll?
I think Tayo should answer
Type
that.
in your email address.
Okay, so Nicole, please provide your email address.
Yeah, just type in your email address in the chat box.
And we'll get back to you.
Someone from MCC will contact you.
I've also sent an email address, hello@maplecc.ca. You can write us.
Okay. Dorothy Uche wants to know, can someone in university 100 level join? Okay, so I think you've addressed this already, but you can just reiterate.
Yes, you can join the grade 12. You can join us in grade 12.
Right, so Dorothy, you can join us. Thank you. Any more questions? You're welcome, Dorothy. So we look forward to having you in September. Do we have any more questions? Mr. John from Alberta and Mr. Robert from Carleton are still here, in case you have questions for them. If you have questions about visa processes also, we can still provide more information. Okay, Obiameka, that has been addressed. Yes, you can join. You can join even if you're in another level. Okay, Dorothy wants to know, how often do your students get scholarships?
Very often.
How often? I think she means like, what are the chances?
Chances.
Yeah, of getting scholarships.
Well, it's based on your academics. I feel if you're getting the required grades the universities are looking for, then your chances are higher. So it's open to anyone as long as your grades are exceptional, I like to say. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Kenny Ayola wants to know, if a child wants to study law, what undergrad BA courses can one study? So I think he's referring to prerequisites for law. So what can the child study, before they're able to study law? I think this should go to either Mr. Robert or Mr. John.
Sure, I can respond in the Carleton context. Okay. So one point I would make first is, if your intention is to practice law in a courtroom as a barrister, in the Canadian context, that's a postgraduate credential. So you would do undergraduate studies before applying to a professional law program, where you would learn the fundamentals of practicing that profession. An important consideration, of course, is studying the legal system that's germane to the country you intend to practice the profession in would be helpful and worth considering. At Carleton, we do have a full faculty of law and legal studies. So for example, we offer a Bachelor of Arts law program, very broad base of law systems available through that. So from Indigenous law to international law, business law, environmental law, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A great basis to go forth into our master's, where it's a research focused degree on that particular profession, or to a professional law program. You don't have to do an undergraduate law program to go on to study law, of course, but certainly our students have found great success with that particular pathway. That's the Carleton option.
All right, thank you, Mr. Roberts. Sharon has a similar question. For a medical student, what course must they study first before med school? You can also take that, Mr. Roberts.
So in a really similar way, you could say medical programs in Canada are also a postgraduate credential. It's a really similar pathway as the one you'd find in America, quite different from the United Kingdom. So it's not direct entry medical programs. You would do an undergraduate degree. Many students find success with science or biological sciences for med programs. For example, Bachelor of Health Science or a Bachelor of Science in any health related field. That said, you don't necessarily have to have a science background for some medical programs. It will vary greatly by med school. It's worth mentioning how competitive medical programs are in the Canadian context. I think in any given year, there might be approximately 50 seats available across the country for international students. So of course, it's a highly competitive process.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Mr. Gigi, I just want to stress that we have our entry requirement is ages 14 to 18.
Okay.
I think someone asked the question, so it's between 14 to 18. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So, Mr. Robert, again, you have one more question. What do students enjoy most about this college, about Carleton, and what type of support do freshmen get?
Yeah, I think one of Carleton's key strengths really is that it's a really engaged campus community where people actively get involved both in the classroom, but in outside of the classroom activities as well. So whether you want to get involved in a professional students association or volunteer with our campus radio station as a DJ or join snowboarding club and try, something that you've never done before, there's such a broad array of opportunity that you could really get involved in many different types of things and kind of build up your leadership skills and connect with other people by doing really fun things. So I think a typical Carleton student likes to get involved and to challenge and debate, and that would be one of the key things I think that makes Carleton an interesting choice. In terms of support, tons that you can take advantage of even before you arrive on campus. As an international student, we can match you with current upper year international students in a peer mentorship type of relationship where you can ask questions to another student and they can tell you, well, when I was packing to come to Canada, this is the type of question I had, this is my advice. But academic support, social emotional support, we offer extensive support for students with disabilities as well. We believe ourselves to be one of the most accessible campuses in the world. And all of this is free. There's no additional cost for taking advantage of these different types of support. So I guess I would just say, it's a big decision. We know that as you contemplate leaving home for the first time and, whether you'll make friends and all of those things that are likely going through your mind, we're here to help you to the fullest extent that you require it. You just have to reach out and let us know.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Rob. Onyeka wants to know, Mrs. Obara, please help us with this one. If you have an aunt over there and you are 16 going alone, but you are going to live with her and she's financially capable, will you be allowed to go alone?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no law that says you have to be accompanied. You can go alone.
All right, thank you very much, Ma.
Another thing at Maple Canadian College is that we travel with our students, and so we provide flight arrangements and chaperone too. So we don't, if our students want to be accompanied, it's possible. And our flights, our tickets are always way cheaper than what the airline is offering because it's group rate. So we do travel with our students 3 times a year for the 3 different start dates.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Dorothy Uche has a question about BSc, BNG. Is there what's the implication of that difference? That in Canada it's BSc, in Nigeria it is BNG. Is there any difference? And can it have any effect, perhaps if she wants to do PG studies? I'm wondering where I should direct this one to now. Mr. Barrow or Mr. Robert?
It doesn't really matter. BN, BSc is still the same thing.
All right. So Jessica on your query wants to know, Mr. Rob, do you provide an international relations course? And if so, are there co-op opportunities for such students taking the course?
Yeah, we do. So international relations, certainly, but in that field, you'll also find political science, public affairs, and policy management, where there's many different sort of global politics themes, I guess you will. Even a global politics degree where students spend part of their degree outside of Canada, learning in international context as well. So a number of different choices, I'd say, some of which can be combined together to build a more comprehensive, diverse look at the international system. And we do offer co-op for most programs. So I would say, depending upon which one you end up applying for, it's probably available. Beyond co-op, there's other things you can take advantage of, like going on an exchange or through different clubs and societies we have on campus as well. So yeah, look at all of these different options as you start your degree and move through your studies as well.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so I think at this point we can draw the Q&A session to a close. But again, if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to us. But also, if you provide your email address, we would reach out to you and we'll be happy to do that. Right. So, Mr. Barrow, do you have any announcements or any closing remarks?
Well, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to attend this webinar. We've had lots of parents visit us here in our college. And we are very happy to say that we've registered quite a number of students already. The school is growing, even though we are just 2 years old. We doubled our number from last year to this year, and hopefully we'll double our number again. So we're here to ensure that our students do very well. This last set, we had students in fact, 17 students had over 90% average honor roll, and the least was about 72%. So we've done extremely well, and gratitude goes to Rosedale Academy for their support. They're always there to make sure that our teachers are, providing the best, using the best teaching methodologies, and they are always prepared to help us in time of need. We also have teachers in Canada, in Rosedale Academy, that are helping our teachers here as well. So we are not in it alone. Our fees are quite affordable if you compare to how much it will cost to get the same certificate that you're going to get here in Nigeria compared to what you pay in a private school in Canada. Our fees are really, really affordable. And I'm happy to tell you that the parents of our students are very, very happy and very grateful for this opportunity for their young kids to do this program here in Nigeria, so that at the time they are leaving, they've covered the gap in the curriculum, they are more matured, and they feel more confident that their students or their children will cope when they get to university in Canada. So feel free to visit us at any time. Our campus is open during the holidays. We are not shutting down. Application for admission is on, and it will be on till students finish their WAEC exam. So feel free to send us an email or visit us here just to see the campus. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barrow. And thank you again to Mr. Okokon. Thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening. Mr. Tilayo, thank you again for your presentation. Mr. Robert, Mr. John, thank you for your time. Mr. Raylon, it's been a while you said anything, but thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think we have one final question and then we'll just say goodbye. In Maple Academy, what will your
cyber security?
Okay, so if you want to study cyber security, what would you need to do?
We could recommend English, physics, chemistry, functions, calculus and vectors, economics, advanced functions. We could also recommend any of the above courses as well. To answer that question, yes.
All right. So for further information, again, you can always contact us. You can call us on the phone number, send an email to hello@peoplecc.ca, Visit us on Instagram, and then you can also check out our website for more information. But I think the most effective way to reach us would be for you to send your email address to this chat box now, and we'll get across to you very, very promptly. All right. Thank you once again, everyone. Thank you, Olaolu. Sorry, I forgot to mention you. Thank you very much for your time. And if there are no more questions, you can call it a day. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.